Hey, we're now on with our Lucy. Lucy lives in California and on with our Patricia. So, hello, ladies.
Hi guys, Lucy here.
Hi
Hey.
everyone.
And maybe Aaron will join us if he gets out of his meeting. So that might be happening. But anyway, we're here with Lucy and we were going, what are we going to talk about? So, Lucy?
I was thinking we could talk about. Well, I have so many things to say, but maybe like all the feelings that you go through and all the emotions and all the stages that you go through when you wake up. Because it's um it's
Did
a
you just do
process.
something to your phone? Did you just plug something in?
My Bluetooth.
It's better without the Bluetooth.
Oh yeah, let me try it. I can put on my little
Sorry.
headphones that don't.
Remember, we
No
did this
worries.
last time.
Yeah.
You just
Let me.
gone a bit tinny.
Can you still hear me though?
Oh, that's perfect.
Wonderful. I want to make sure you hear me. It's because I thought maybe the speakerphone wasn't going to be very clear.
Oh, it's much better listening to you like that, Lucy.
Okay. Well, we can keep it like that. Well, I was
Yeah.
thinking, well, there's just so many things that you go through in emotions. Kind of, when like you grieve someone's death, it's you grieve, you go through the grieving of like knowing that everything that you knew is not real and you have to unlearn everything and learn it all over again. You go through like wow, like you're surprised and you're shocked, and then you have to accept it and you get angry. And I think I'm at the stage right now where I'm a little bit angry, because I realized all the stuff that was done to us, you know. It wasn't very nice, like all the fuckery.
Hey, Lucy, I just want to. This is digressing, but it's the same thing, but it's just a different thing. I'm just finishing a video off right now where I was a bit shocked. Like, I've been to this thing called the Brighton Dome, the pavilion there. I've seen things, but you just don't connect it to how you connect it today. I just wish I could go there right now. Anyway, I was going to look at one of the piers because one of the piers is gone, and you know what they like to do? They like to destroy those things that mean something. Anyway, would you believe it? There's this thing there. It's called Daddy Longlegs. It looks like War of the Worlds. It was a train in the sea. They had
Wow.
it travelled. It had 3 miles. My dad lived in Woodingdean, and I think it went to Rottingdean, which is the next one along. It's about three and a half miles. It had these long stilt things. The track was 18 feet apart, which is biggest track in the world. And it ran so that when the tide was out, then this thing was just running on a track with long stilt legs. But of course, when the sea came in, it came up to not the bottom of well, it's a train, but like the boat thing on it, it was on its legs. But let's just say the sea was much higher. And this thing worked on the electric in the water. What it is electricity came, they put it through the water, and then the train went along the track.
Wow.
And in the late 1800s. Like,
It's
what
interesting how
the
this got
hell
to
have they
be.
done to us? And it looks like War of the Worlds. I'm
So
just
it
like,
it was a
oh.
train underwater?
No, no. I'm going to put a video out on Unscrambled about it, but
Oh,
um,
okay.
it had like really long legs, like stilts, but on top of the stilts was like it was a carriage, but it looked like a boat because it was in the water, but it was a train. And then this thing went up and down the track,
Mm.
backwards and forwards, and it used to dock with the pier. Like,
Mm.
I have never heard or seen anything like it. It's like, what is all this? Like, suddenly, why is there all this stuff?
Oh, and they took it down. They just, yeah.
So what I'm saying is, there was electric trains and all that in the 1800s, and they were using the sea for it.
You
So
talking about
confused.
Tartaria?
Oh, hi.
Hey, Aaron! He made it. Hey, this is
Yay.
Hello.
Aaron. Hello, my darling.
Hi, how you guys doing?
Very quickly, I don't know how much you heard because this is your hangout, and I'm going to shut up in a minute. But what it was is I've been doing my bit of Tartaria, Buckingham Palace, other things, castles, Star Sports and stuff. And I thought I'd go back to one of the piers in Brighton. It has been destroyed. It's gone now. But there were two piers in Brighton, the West Pier and the Palace Pier. And I've been to both of them. Obviously, you can't go to one because it's gone now. But it's fires. I've seen another pier in 2014, Eastbourne, fire. You know how they like to destroy things. That's what I was saying. But
Oh,
I was
yeah.
looking at the pier, and then this thing came up, and it was called Daddy Longlegs. And what it was is it was a train in the sea. So they had
Uh-huh.
these concrete slabs, and the train ran up and down. They used the water to electrify it to get it going, and basically stilts were really tall, but it did 3.5 mile journey like a shuttle, backwards and forwards from Woodingdean to the piers. It docked at the piers and everything. It's War of the World. I
Yeah.
I just can't. I'll send you the link when I finish the video. Like, I can't believe it. It's like my parents came from there. They never mentioned that once.
Oh, wow.
And the
This was
fact that
in the late 1800s?
yeah, 1893, and it
Uh-huh.
went till 1901.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah, there
yeah,
was that era, there was a lot of stuff. I mean, there was like this, I think it was the same, maybe early 1900s or late 1800s. There was World's Fair in Chicago.
I know. I've just done that one again on Unscrambled. Like that one's just
It's
mind-boggling.
crazy. They built this whole city with marble, just massive cathedrals and buildings, and they claim that they just built it temporarily for this World's Fair, and then they disassembled it afterwards. But there's no way. There's no
Aaron, some
way
of
that
those
was just.
buildings were 9 acres big.
Yeah, yeah, that was just this
And it had
temporary
this
installation.
enormous great wheel, the biggest big wheel that you could ever think of. And it said that
Uh,
2,000 people could ride on it. And the seats in it were revolving. So they could revolve the chairs round. Like we're basically poor. They were so destitute, these people. And they were in the street. Well, we're making this great big wheel.
yeah. Meanwhile, they're figuring out the horse and buggy, and they don't even barely know what electricity is,
All the
supposedly.
paintings then have people on foot or horses jumping over gates. That's it. And pop guns.
Hmm.
Anyway, you're on here today with Patricia. Obviously, you know Lucy. And we asked you to come together today because Lucy just mentioning what a great hangout would be for you two to be together on a hangout, on Sun and Moon.
Yeah.
So
Hi, Erin.
Hi, Lucy. And I don't know what to talk about, so hopefully Lucy has some ideas.
she was just saying it when I decided to digress because it was the same thing. She said what they're doing to us, and I just thought, I'm just making this video. I mean, what is this thing called Daddy Longlegs? It's an electric train in the sea in the 1800s. Like, what is
Uh-huh.
this? What? Anyway,
So many crazy things. I was looking into a little while ago, like the Civil War here in America, and there's all kinds of sketchy, fishy things about the Civil War. If you look at it, you never see any pictures of the actual battles occurring. Apparently, they only took pictures where they just completely posed. They were obviously posing for the pictures, and the whole concept of like when the camera came into use is under question, because like there's that picture of the world's first camera, and apparently was taken with a camera that I don't know what camera it was taken. What camera took that picture of the world's first camera. Or like these pictures of these soldiers in the Civil War standing by the wreckage, just the rubble of like buildings that were supposedly destroyed with these cannons that look like cement mixers to me. They're really short and stubby, and you're like, there's no way that could have like shot a cannon and then destroyed these buildings to the point where they were these massive brick buildings that are now just bricks just covering the ground. They completely annihilated these buildings.
yeah, Aaron, can you just stand there to make sure it looked like you did it?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, really, it was probably alien ships came down and vaporized them, and then like, all right, just pose in front of these cameras, and they're like, what are cameras? No. So a
Well,
lot of
my take on it is that the footage is all wrong, and they've sped up the 1800s footage to make it look like they're walking faster, telling us it was actually the film of the day. Just got to slow it down a bit, and you can
right.
see that they're actually walking normally, and it goes on and on. But just wait, Lucy wants to talk a bit more about feelings and things, don't you, Lucy?
Feelings.
Feelings. I got nothing but feelings. No, I was saying that I go through a lot of feelings, when I think about everything that the world is going through and all the things that everyone is going through and how much everyone is hurting. And when you wake up to the truth and the reality that we really live in, you go through like happiness and you're surprised because, wow, look what I discovered. And
Yeah.
I feel like right now I'm in the anger stage. I've accepted it already a little bit, but I'm angry because it's like, oh, this was done to me. Like, why did they do this to me? And not just me, a lot of people.
Everyone. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
in many ways,
everyone.
we were all victims of a massive crime against humanity. We are currently still, as they continue to lie, as they continue to claim that NASA's legit and there's people, flying around the globe in this garbage can. We're supposed to just shut up and just now accept that. Even though we know, I mean, that's the thing. I think the majority of people know at this point that, at least at an unconscious level, subconscious level, that this is all bullshit. This is bullshit. This is, been fed to us since we were kids. And as long as we didn't ask questions, everything was fine. But as soon as people started asking questions about the shape of our Earth, our existence itself, the cosmology, what we see around us, above us, that's when you could say the shit started hitting the fan. You could say, like, I mean, the flat Earth movement really it started happening maybe 2015, and it was building really big, and then it kind of flopped a little bit, and that's because I think there was so much backlash. The powers that be were like, we can't have this just running away. And so there was a lot of people I know personally that were targeted, that were silenced in various ways. And, I mean, Karen, you've been silenced. I mean, Lucy, all of us have been silenced here and censored and
I actually
messed
can't
with.
believe now how they got it past us without us noticing it in the first place. Because now all I do is notice it all.
I know, right? When I first kind of stumbled upon the idea that the Earth might be flat, I started, I was very scientifically minded, and I started studying it from a scientific perspective, pretty unbiased. I was a little skeptical, but at the same time, I was trying to just look at it neutrally and do the math. I did a lot of the math, and I came to the conclusion that the Earth is flat and motionless. And when I first kind of had that realization, I was actually really upset with myself because I was like, here I am, like mid-30s, and it took me this long to figure this out. I've been researching this kind of stuff my whole life, and I actually believed we were on a spinning ball flying through a vacuum, an infinite vacuum. Like, I believed that. For how long? I was so upset with myself.
I bet you loved space. I bet you had a few space rockets when you were little.
I was big into science. I was really big into astronomy, and still am. And I think even like this stuff has kind of rekindled my passion for I don't even want to call it space, for the sky, for our cosmology.
And Projectlumen.
Of course, I mean, that's always been going and will, but in many ways, I think the Flat Earth gave Projectlumen sort of a platform, if you will, to kind of launch from, because it always been a movement for truth, and how can we really share that truth, and get it out to the people, which is still the question, is still the challenge. But to go back to like what Lucy was talking about, after I kind of got over my own frustrations with myself for taking 30 plus years to figure it out, I then got really angry with NASA, with the establishment, with academia, because I studied physics in college. I had a lot of professors that I kind of respected, and they were all full of it. It turns out, I was lied to, and They didn't necessarily know they were full of it, but still, they blindly accepted all these things and never really challenged it themselves, and that's on them. And that's on, and then you have all the people that work at NASA. Okay, they probably don't know, most of them, but they're still complicit because they're not, especially now when Flat Earth did have its day. It had a big movement there. Everybody knows the term Flat Earth now. Everybody knows it's an idea, which a lot of people are not backing away from. And so if you're working at NASA and you're just completely dismissing all of those ideas, well, that's kind of on them. You know, they should quit NASA and find another job.
Do you know why? Do you know why there's anger though? Because there is nowhere to go to, and we're actually on our own.
Yeah. We're on what? What was the last thing you said?
We're on our own. There's no one to go to. There's no help. We can't go, hey, can you help us? Then look what he's doing to me. Look.
It's like
all these things are happening politically. All these things are being shoved in front of us. No one's questioning it. No one's questioning NASA. No one's doing nothing.
Right. And it's the opposite of help because we're getting opposition. We're getting targeted. We're getting attacked. A lot of us on the daily get attacked just because, even me, because I haven't even said anything for like a year publicly about anything, but I still get attacked, maybe not as often as I was, but it's still, it comes, and it's just like these people, I'm sorry that they feel so strongly about what they were taught that they feel they have to take it out on people who are kind of presenting an alternative belief or perspective, but that's no reason to attack, and it's completely unwarranted and justified. But that's the reality that we're in, is that not only do we not have help, do we have not anyone to go to or no authorities to help us with this situation. It's the opposite. We're on our own, and good luck. Good luck surviving this or making it through. I think most people are just kind of being more and more quiet right now.
I think when you wake up as well, I don't know, you're just a different vibe, just different people, just not the same.
Oh yeah.
I thank goodness there's young people like Lucy, because we need the next generation, don't we? Now we're in that generation. We're the next one along. We need the ones behind to more of them to wake up.
Oh yeah, but they don't want the children to wake up, because if the children wake up, they're going to tell everybody.
Right.
Because children are very curious, and they're going to see it right away. So now they have these new laws and stuff on YouTube where you have to say whether it's for children or not. It could be the silliest thing. I can have balloons in the background, and they'll say, "Oh, those balloons are going to attract the attention of children. Therefore, I'm going to put your video down."
Yeah. And Vimeo just today, I think it came out, just announced that if anyone creates a video on Vimeo that suggests in any way that vaccines are bad, they will be deplatformed. They will be removed from Vimeo, just suggesting that vaccines are bad. Yeah.
So why? Yeah, nobody questions that. Why can't we talk about it? No one questions.
You know what?
It.
With YouTube,
Exactly.
there was someone made a video about it, that they videoed it, that when YouTube were talking about this new thing they're bringing in, they were saying it was just about getting rid of some old things and updating new things. And of course, everybody was going, no, but you're going to delete our channels. YouTube made one answer, and they wouldn't answer anymore. And they just said they weren't deleting channels. But what they've done is they've put that clause in, which means that they can use that whenever they want.
Right.
And I'm sorry, I listened to the CEO's message. I can't remember when it was. It wasn't that long ago that she did, or they did it. And basically, they weren't saying, what we do is we equally look at everything that's coming in. We monitor all the stuff that comes in. We look at them and we look at you. No, they were just looking at us. They weren't interested. They didn't talk at all about the politics or the TV stations giving us this stuff. They were only interested. And this person said, well, I hear that some of the people on the customer services actually believe the conspiracy theorists. So basically she said, well, we teach them this. And you think, oh yeah, right. Can you imagine it? That means they can never talk to you about anything, because the moment you open your mouth, oh, conspiracy theorists, just give them a link. And they want me to send a complaint in individually for every single one of those videos. And I asked for the CEO's address or email, and the guy said he couldn't give it to me.
Wow. Yeah, they do it on purpose so that you don't have time to do all that stuff and that, so it makes it harder for you to.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
individually, it means nothing. It means everybody has to complain. Everybody has to report these videos. Everybody has to do it.
Right.
One person complaining is not going to make any difference, is it?
No, I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming down the pike with against Google and Facebook and Twitter, and many others, and so what I think is going on is they're essentially figuring out how they're going to transition a lot of them to a different model because
Do you know what,
they're
Aaron?
current.
Do you know what it is? Do you know, I realized it in my video I made the other day. It was Big
Mm,
Dread, he was talking. So they made
mm,
YouTube and it was a place we escaped to because we didn't want to watch the television. But because he's saying, what he was saying was because of the television sale, well, you know, people are turning their tellies off and the ads aren't being. So they actually, what they've done is the businesses, big businesses have come over to YouTube and now we're doing it all through YouTube. And of course, that's why everything's changing for us because now it has to fit in with what big business wants. But you know what I mean? It's just
right.
like it's all being funneled for them.
Exactly.
So you can't get away
It's
from
like
the mainstream now. We're going to be funneled with the mainstream on YouTube when actually it was a different place for us to have our say.
right.
And you know, they
Yeah.
could,
I
do
mean,
you know what? They could easily get around this. They could put restrictions on the children's side, right? Although I don't see how a 2-year-old starts looking at flat Earth or anything like that, or you know, whatever murders and stuff like that. See how a child gets there, and they could categorize it.
exactly. I mean, this is kind of my wheelhouse, and I've definitely seen for a while, like, it's a pretty simple solution if they really wanted to fix it, which they would just filter, they would create a system of filtering content, and then they would create like a parental control filter so that, they could have it where children can watch and they can't watch anything that's out of that parental control, and then that would allow people to filter their content, which would be better for the users anyway.
Mind you, they'll be just funneled onto Disneyland with all those phallic things that when you slow it
Oh,
down, it's just
right. Well, and that's a whole nother that's a whole nother thing.
yeah. So, do you
But,
see what I mean? So they're the ones actually doing it to us.
oh yeah, no, it's total hypocrisy in every which direction. Because the thing is, they could set this platform up. They could set up YouTube so that it just works, and they don't have to censor anything. Because if they just filtered, then the only thing they'd have to do as far as moderation is make sure that no one's improperly filtering or tagging their content. And if they did that, they'd have to adjust the tags. Maybe it's not appropriate for children, and they'd have to make that decision. But that would mean it's
Yeah, I don't see why it's
removed.
so crucial. Like you're done and dusted, out. You know, it's all done like this rather than you're sitting there going, if I put this out, am I going to get a strike? You know, like
Right,
what is a strike and what isn't? One day it isn't, and then one day it is. And I find it really weird when videos have been out for years, and then the next day there's something
and
wrong
all
with
of a
them, and so the
sudden,
channel gets. I'm sorry, they should
yeah,
start it from that date that they're actually bringing the law in. Anything pre it stays because that's where it was then, and just
yeah,
have a little notice like the Wikipedia one they stick on. This was before the law change. I don't know how they do it, but to just take down a channel, all the things they do. It's just I
right,
just find this mind-boggling. And do you know else? Very quickly, my research as well. It seems that what they do is they like to mix the news. So what they do is they start off with deep fake, which brings people in, and
hmm,
then basically tell you how they do it. So the company says, this is how you do it. You mix two faces together, and then the next company says, but actually, we've got the algorithm now that other companies can use, and they can add it to YouTube and Facebook and take away the deep fakes. But they can't do that because then we suddenly NASA would disappear, the news would disappear, most of the crime watch programs would disappear, and then of course it goes on, and then all the channels that are deep faking and whatever they're doing they'd disappear as well. And suddenly you'd lose most of YouTube because it's all deep faking. And they can't do it because then it would show who and what they are. So it's
right.
like, but it's so a shame because they could put the technology in and stop this, but they're not going to. And then all YouTube are doing is looking at the people. It's just unbelievable. We're
Yeah,
just repeating the news and what we've seen.
right. No, I mean, and they're repressing it. They're repressing the truth. That's their main thing. They're repressing the truth. That's objective. That's their business model at this point. All these Fortune 500, big media, big tech, big everything. Their main objective right now is to repress the truth because it's on its way out. The truth is being revealed so full force. I mean, most people don't have any clue how much the truth is emerging right now.
Aaron,
But that's
Aaron,
what's
we
happening.
do, we do. Me and Lucy were on a hangout together. Patricia was there, and those little kids. How old was he, Lucy?
They were 8 and 12.
They knew.
Yeah.
They told me
Yeah,
a lot.
Their parents knew as well.
right. And that's the thing too, is a lot of these kids, a lot of these millennials, they're so much more aware than people realize. Just because they don't comment on stuff, because they don't vote in polls, everyone acts like, oh, like they're not necessarily keen on. No, they're keen on everything. They know the earth is flat. They know that the government's corrupt. They know that, there's a lot of malarkey going on that, and they don't necessarily know what to do about it, but they're aware of it. And that's going to be helpful in the near future and in the distant future, because the children are going to are the future, and they're going to be the ones passing the laws of the future. They're going to be the ones, and even currently, they're the ones voting with their attention. So if all the millennials decided to abandon Twitter, guess what would happen? Twitter would end. And they have that power. It's just they haven't chosen to use it yet. But I think things like
You know
that will
what?
happen.
It would be the end of adverts and everything, because they're all the same. There's not anything you're watching that's really real and filmed and just that's it, cut, taken. By the time you've watching it, it's been doctored a million times, and maybe let's put the deep fake one in because she's prettier than you. Whatever it is, I just I'm bit gobsmacked that it's actually that bad. And basically, if you turn the television off, then it's not there. It's all in the television.
Yeah. Well, it's all over the internet too. But.
Yeah. I mean, on a screen, but I mean, we're making our own stuff, so we're an alternative to that stuff.
Sure, yeah. Totally, yeah.
And I understand where Lucy is, because some days it just hits you. Like you don't mean to. Some days I just sit here and I just think it's almost unbelievable, the truth.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, you couldn't write this. Like the how things have been unraveling over the last few years, and probably how they will continue to unravel, is so crazy and so like unforeseeable. Like we couldn't even fathom a movie or a book about this, because it's just so out there. And I think it's going to get
layer
even more.
upon layer upon layer, and they're all separate things, but they all link together, and it's like, oh my goodness gracious me. But I also like Lucy. She loves the children, don't you, Lucy? And you just think that.
I adore children. I wish that I could talk to more children, of course, with their parent consent and all that stuff. I'm not going to do anything like that because I know everything's by the book. So, but it would be very nice to be able to share, because they have a lot of things to talk about, and it's easier to speak to them, because adults they're zombified. They've been zombified for years and years and years, and the children are kind of like clean slate, and it's just it's very unfortunate that they're doing all this, but they can't stop us. Nobody can stop it. The truth is coming out. That's why all they can do, right, they're running out of time. Basically, they're running out of time, and right now at this point, they're just doing everything that they can to stop it, to slow it down a little bit, but it's not gonna work, because everything's by the book, and they're gonna go down, whether they like it or not. They don't have to like it. They don't have to like it.
Thing is, you don't watch the television, do you? Aaron doesn't watch I mean, we're talking about programs. We're obviously on YouTube, and whatever we do on YouTube, but we're not being programmed by that thing. I love these people, family-in-law, but it's like, shut up, EastEnders is on, shut up, the news is on, shut up, whatever's on, whatever, like those quiz programs they have late afternoon here, eggheads are in it. Shut up, that's done. That's all they can watch is that television. They're absolutely.
There's a lot of trash on TV.
Pretty much all trash.
Yeah, it's all trash. Why is it okay to see a bunch of girls cleaning the air, twerking, cleaning the air on TV, but it's not okay for me to talk about my opinion of the shape of the earth? You know, everything's backwards. It's
Well,
twisted.
yeah, you just mentioned it. It's because they're in an all-out war against the truth right now. And when I say they, it's all those big tech, big media companies, and they are literally they have armed forces in a way. They are, opposing the truth warriors, which are many, which are us and many others, which are growing exponentially every single day, and they know it. Their day is done, and they know it. And so they're. And here's the thing. I mean, it's like a kamikaze pilot, who flies their plane into the enemy's boat, and risking their life, or sacrificing their life in order to make a dent on the enemy. Well, that's exactly what we're seeing here. And so we see all these companies, all these governmental bodies that are essentially committing a kamikaze on their own countries, because they know they're done, and they're going to do as much damage as they can on their way out. And so that's what we're seeing, is all this censorship. It's extremely damaging to our Constitution, to our country, and it goes well beyond the censorship, obviously. But
we don't have any of that, do we? And to think that, all those buildings in America and pyramids, they're all there, and like they've managed to completely take us away from it. And like,
yep.
I almost can't believe that we've been funneled the way we have. Wow.
No, it is crazy. I mean, I honestly, I come to the idea that, like, the moon. I've always been fascinated by the moon, and I used to really be proud that I understood how the moon phases worked. And then I came across flat Earth, and I was like, well, but how do you explain the moon phases? And honestly, I've never been able to explain the moon phases on the flat Earth, and I've never really had a good explanation. And what that leads me to believe is that the moon is in on it, that the moon is a part of this whole deception.
Well, she
And it's
is, because
that big,
they've lost a month for a start. There should be 13 months of the year. And I think
right?
that's what we're noticing, is our weather's changing, because actually we're really a month behind or a month ahead. I think we're a month behind, really. And it's starting to
Well,
notice
I think
the
that's
actual
even
problems.
that's like,
Problem should be
that's like
13 months.
another thing they've done, is they've taken us out of sync with all these natural rhythms, and that's like daylight saving time, or the moon, not using the proper moon's calendar. Rather than, that would make sense. We use the lunar cycle for our calendars. Yeah, we have 13 months, easy peasy, no confusion. Every month has 28 days. That's it. Really simple. But like, no, we they took us out of those natural rhythms, and they even like do other things, and the clock itself. I mean, the clock itself is a man-made thing. There's nature's clock. I mean, that's the sun and the stars, but there's no urgency about it. Are we pretty confident that the sun's going to come up tomorrow? Yes. So what's the rush? you know, but
And
man,
they haven't explained things like, like, I was talking to an astrology lady, and the fact that I've got the Big Dipper going basically around my house, that I can visibly see the whole thing going around in the sky, and the fact that Polaris is basically right over my bedroom. We're probably a lot more north than they're ever telling us, and we're more north than Denmark and other places.
oh right.
It's just crazy. Instead of working all this out and understanding, we're led. Oh my God, it is disgusting. I'm sorry, it's just no other word.
Yeah,
To do this to the people, it is for complete control, though, isn't it? That's what it is, and people, we just don't realize
it is.
And it's
No,
fear. I think it's fear.
yeah,
They're afraid of us. Whatever they are, they're afraid of us. That's why they have to dumb us down with television. That's why they have to give people diagnosis that is not true, so that they can give you a pill to dumb you down with a pill. Because we are super powerful beings, and we need to find our truth. And because when we find it, we're gonna overcome all this, and that's why they're trying to keep us like asleep and docile. So because they're afraid of us, it's too many of us.
Yeah, I must admit, if that's the best they can do in the videos, then yeah, they haven't got that much after all then. And whatever they're doing, I don't know how they're doing it, but it's just a show.
Right. No, it is all a show. I mean, it's been a show for a long time. I mean, I think
Because you know, I
they.
realised, Darren, you know, when they made this digital, it's a bit like when I go to look at some of these, you know, like the BBC and that, when they upload to YouTube, some of them are uploading at 260 and 3, whatever it is, and you think they should be high definition, surely. They've been really messing around with us for a long time. We just haven't taken notice of what's going on. Like
Everyone's
I'm pretty sure we didn't vote last week. I'm saying people did vote, but I'm saying they said 80 house majority, a great landslide victory for Boris. But I go and watch the news on ITV.
Congratulations.
It's not watched as much on ITV as BBC on things, but you would expect it when millions of people have voted and that it was a landslide victory, that there would be, as he's standing outside 10 Downing Street going, we've done it, we're back in, and all that. Do you know how many people watched on ITV, which is
Uh,
basically a big TV news station?
uh,
6,000.
Jeez.
Mm.
The
Wow.
BBC was
Well, that,
53. I told you they go more to the BBC for things like this. I don't say they don't go to Sky and all that, but BBC's watched a bit more for weddings and stuff. But even that, 53, and you think it took
yeah.
like nearly 24 hours to get 53 million, and 1,000 rather. And, you know, like millions voted. Like we didn't vote. I know we didn't because the video of Boris has got him like a little diddy toy, you know, like a Monopoly game piece in the middle of the road. And so he's tiny. He's really tiny. It looks like the curb's about 20 feet away. And there's only enough room for 2 cars. So it's what, 5 foot, 10 foot or something. But they've made it look about 50 feet. So he's like little boy out in the road because obviously they filmed it all before in a studio.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
just, it's
we'll see
just,
what happens there. Not to get too political, but I think
yeah,
it'll
yeah,
be
let's not do
interesting to
that one.
see. It'll be
It's just,
interesting to see what happens with that. That's all I'll
it's
say.
just,
Cause
my bit was just, I couldn't believe how small he was. And that all you got, and also the Christmas tree that he's with keeps
uh,
moving quite a lot when the cameraman is standing next to another cameraman, and you can see how big that one is, and then you can see how small Boris is with this moving Christmas tree. It's just they, they've been getting away with blue murder, I think, to be honest.
well, they have been. Yeah, I mean, literal murder in many cases. They've been getting away with for quite a long time. Yeah, but if you believe that if you believe that things are changing, I don't know that you do, but if you do, then you will see signs of that change, and I do see signs of that change. I see a lot of signs of that change happening, and so I'm extremely hopeful and confident that we're going to see the world change for the better over the next number of years. Um,
Lucy, do you think the same then?
yeah, Lucy, do you?
About the change?
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people are going to open their eyes in 2020. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people are going to have the eyes to see.
2020 vision.
Yes, 2020 vision. It's going to be a consciousness wave, you
Mm-hmm.
know. All these people are going to be waking up, and I'm not sure exactly how it's going to unfold, but I'm very excited to see, because it's it's unstoppable.
Yeah, exactly.
So ask Patricia. Patricia, what do you think? Is she going to unmute? Patricia? Sometimes people. Oh, there she is.
Yeah, I mean,
What's your thought? Do you think people
yeah,
are
I mean,
changing?
who knows really? I mean, we hope that they do, but I don't know. We can only change ourselves, and I mean, hopefully things will. But I don't know. I'm just in that mindset where I don't think anyone
anything will ever change. We just have to keep on fighting it or just accept it. It's just one of those things. But anyway, hello, Aaron, by the way.
Hi, Patricia. Nice to hear
How
your
you
voice.
doing?
Doing well. Busy.
Good.
Busy.
Good.
Doing well.
We need to be busy, don't we? To focus on
All right. Suppose. To distract us from all these things that we're discussing now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what would we do if we didn't have things to talk about? I mean, I'm not saying that we shouldn't
It's
talk
good
about.
to talk, though, isn't it? That's how we
Oh yeah.
learn things sometimes. That's how we know the news. That's what we're left with, actually, is this kind of
It's how
stuff,
we
isn't
figure
it?
it out. We figure it out talking through it, you know. Just like, okay, so we've all kind of talked on this idea of whether we're going to see change or not, what we feel, right? Because at this point we don't know, no one knows, but it's what we feel intuitively. And I'm saying, just kind of like logically, it's like, you know, if things get worse, if people get more asleep, if there's more control and this is becoming increasingly Orwellian everywhere, then that's not good. And that's like, we're observing, we can use our critical thinking and say, all right, this is not good. This does not seem to be going in the direction we want to be going. But then what would it look like if it was going in the direction we want to be going? And I would say that, for example, like Boris Johnson getting elected is going in that right direction. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying he's going to change everything. I'm just saying I think that's an indicator that we are going in a direction of what I would just simply say is a populist revolution, where it's essentially the people of the world, of every
I
nation.
absolutely hope so, Aaron.
Well, yes, of course we hope so. And I point out a lot of evidence of that. I won't bore us right now, but
You mean to say that what it is they're saying, like, at the moment, we've got to play the game with everybody else, and it comes to that day, that's it, we're free. Not quite revolution, but come on, everybody, we've woken up, let's go. We've changed sides. Look, we're free, we're independent. Oh, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
Well, sometimes you just got to fake it till you make it, right? So if we just say that, eventually it'll be true.
Yeah. You have to write your future. You have to write it down.
Exactly.
Write your.
Do you know what would be really weird, though, is to go out and everybody's really nice to each other. No, you go first. No, it's okay, you can go first. No, after you. You know,
That's not
suddenly
what they promote.
it'd be lovely, but you know what I mean? It'd be a bit weird to go out and everybody's like, would you like that first? No, you can go ahead of me in the queue, it's okay.
We should live in the Midwest, here in the U.S. That's how everyone is there.
Yeah, if you go to Devon and Cornwall, it's much slower there because they're not on the anthill for London. And those people, they stop and they actually speak to you. If you're this sort of area up to London and someone says hello to you, you think, what do they want? So, I mean, it's just different. It's more relaxed and local in the West Country.
Yeah, in the Midwest where I grew up, I mean, you're driving down.
They drive slower. You know, they get to about 30 miles an hour. Is it okay?
I've been at a four-way stop sign where all four people were like trying to wave on the other person. You know, yeah. Now in the Midwest too, you'll be like driving down a country road, and like the custom is that you just wave. Everyone waves at each other as you're just driving down a random road.
Yeah, do you know what?
People are naturally nice.
It just came into my mind, Lucy. What we need to do is we need to get you all like with a little picture, and Lucy's in the squad to save the people, to save the children. She gets sent to the school to tell the children.
Yeah, people are naturally nice. I think everyone's good people, but they've been distracted with so much things, and they look at television as a reference of, let me see how to treat people, let me see what's going on in the world. I went to Mexico once a long time ago when I was a teenager, and people were saying hi to me. Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I felt strange because I wasn't used to that. Here in the United States, people don't talk to each other. You're afraid if they talk to you. You're like, what do you want? You know, like, why are you talking to me? But over there, it's different because it's a slower paced. People can't buy televisions all the time, you know, so they're not distracted with that stuff. But over here, you question when people are being nice because you're like, what do you want from me? You know?
Yep.
And
I
it's
was just
sad.
saying
It
that,
shouldn't be
wasn't
like
it?
that.
I just said that. That's what it's like, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Children can teach you how to act. Children know because they come knowing. A child should be a teacher, you know?
Exactly. Really, that's true. I mean, we
But
would
people don't
basically be able
listen
to
to
fix this.
children.
We'd be able to fix this very quickly if we just started listening to the children, because the children do know. And it's these pompous, stubborn adults that think we already know, and oh, let's just do it this way because this is the way it's been done for however long. That's like completely the worst attitude to have, and we're never gonna, change with that attitude. That's why I say the children are the key. The millennials are the key, and the millennials,
Do
they
you know
know
what they
so much
are?
more.
They're the child catcher in the film Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, because they're child catching them on now. And like, Robert was on earlier on, and he was basically saying babies, basically children under one have got an iPhone in their hand and are looking at things on a screen. So they're trying to catch them as young as possible to get this
Oh, absolutely.
wave or whatever you want to call it, frequency in their brain.
Oh yeah, which is why they take them away from you and then they put them in school. Your mom is the best teacher. Why should you have to go to school and listen to strangers? How do you know they have good intentions? You know, people don't question that.
Yeah. I said earlier on this other one, we want to hang out with Crow, and he was going, what was the matter with them before? Were they asleep or something? Like they just swallowed it without even checking what they. But as again, we've explained today that all of us are making these videos. Not all of us, but a lot of us make videos on YouTube about the fact that NASA's flying, and that's something you can see for sure. And no one's saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you do? I said I wrote to Donald Trump. He didn't write back. What are you supposed to do? There's nowhere to go.
Right, and they're not having me on Comedy Central anymore, or any networks. There was like that period of time where I was getting hit up by producers every week, literally, for a different interview or a different segment, or they wanted to have me come on in front of a camera regarding flat Earth or some other truth, and now nothing. I didn't. It's not anything I did. It's the fact that now they've realized that was not a good idea. They shouldn't have given us any airtime because they thought we were wrong. They thought we were idiots. And I knew they thought we were idiots, and so that's why I took them up on it, because I knew like this is going to backfire on them, but I'm just going to go right along with it. But now they're just trying to sweep it under the rug as much as they can, because they know it's already gained so much power. It's such a power below the surface. It's like an iceberg, it's most of it is
Thing is, I
below the
wonder
surface.
if people realise that when we say flat Earth, we're not just talking about the land. We're talking about the medication, education, just space, everything you can think of, because
Mm-hmm.
they're all a lie. So when we say flat Earth, we're talking of a whole thing. It
Mm-hmm.
means
Yeah,
everything is a lie. The history's a lie.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, flat Earth is just the kind of the pinnacle, or it was the tipping point. It's the main thing that I think causes the paradigm shift in people's minds. But then once you go down that rabbit hole, then you start realizing all the other stuff along with it.
I flat
Um,
smacked someone today.
nice.
He
Oh,
was he
cool.
was talk he was talking about my phone contract, and I was a bit, something had happened, and we were sorting it out, and then suddenly I just went for it. This poor bloke. He said, "Well, you've given me food for thought."
Very
Mhm.
good.
That's good. I like to flat smack people without them knowing I'm flat smacking them. I went to Miss
Right.
Doja Cat concert the other day. 62,000 people already watched the video,
Oh,
and they
wow.
got flat smacked because they saw my channel.
Very good. Wow.
So sometimes I do it indirectly, because they're not going to listen if I tell them straight out
Right.
about the flat Earth.
You're just hoping that somebody else like, "Hey, let's have a look at her other videos."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. All you have to do is type my name into Google, and I flat smack you.
I know this is a weird place to be, though, isn't it? To know more and know less at the same time, because we know more, but we still don't actually understand who really is doing this and why they did it. Except it just looks like I just think we're some kind of experiment.
Yeah.
It's bittersweet. It's bittersweet. It's like a curse, but it's a treasure at the same time, you know? It's a treasure, but it's like a curse. Because when
Yeah.
you find the truth, it's, oh my goodness, you kind of go crazy. But you don't go crazy, you're insane in the sane wave, the wave of sanity, but you feel like you're going insane.
Yeah, I've been on this journey for most of my life, as far as uh, maybe uncovering conspiracy and the truth. And I've been pretty much completely by myself until Flat Earth came along. Honestly, that was when I started finding other people who I could sort of relate to in this way. Um, but it's always been like this thing of it's like this. It's frustrating that I'm the only one that sees this and no one else really tends to see it. And when I try to bring it up to anyone else, they react. Right? That's frustrating. But now what I've really come to
I'll tell
is
you what,
that
that does bug me a bit. Like we're not aggressive, and we have to live in the globe
Mhm.
world, and we still have to, live in it. If you watch the television, read a paper, go to the shops, whatever it is. But the
Right,
moment you're trying to tell them, they get so hostile.
right, right. When you just try to present them with
Not
a
today. The
fact.
guy today was really nice, but I mean generally, like your family or
Sure, yeah,
you basically you're trying, and they almost want to spit in your face. It's like, it's not my fault. Don't shoot the messenger. It's not my fault. I'm just telling
right.
you.
But here's my saving grace. This is what I've been kind of leaning on for a number of years now, is that the truth will reveal itself. And when it does, we will have the biggest, fattest "I told you so" ever. First of all, uh, and but also, like, what we're doing, we're on the forefront of an awakening. We are the leaders. We are the way showers, and that's why we already know, and no one else does yet, because we are the ones that need to plant those seeds. We need to educate the children. We need to help establish ways to get out of this old, outdated, corrupt system and into something that works based on the truth. That really is why I've been doing Project Lumen. That's the main vision behind it. Is I want to create systems that are alternatives, that work, that are based on truth, that fulfill the purpose of what used to, we used to need government, we used to need various other institutions. We don't need those anymore, because we have solutions that work better and are more transparent or completely transparent, and they therefore respect the truth. And
Aaron,
so,
Aaron,
uh-huh, uh-huh.
I was trying to work out somehow, like, how are we going to fit Project Lumen in? But I thought about it. Right now,
Hmm.
we have this thing called a council tax, and we have to pay the council for all our amenities, like, the dustman, the police, the ambulance, the education, other
Hmm.
things that happen. So we don't pay the government now; we pay our local council. So if they
Huh.
can change those things, you can change anything.
Exactly. No, I mean, there is a legislative body in every single country, pretty much at this point. I guess if it's a democracy, at least. Um, and so therefore, there is a way, there's a system set up for change to be made, and it's in theory supposed to work. The problem is so much of that is corrupt and has been corrupted, and that's where I really see the hope personally, because I've been following this stuff for so long. I see that a lot of that corruption is beginning. We're just on the beginning of it, the very tip beginning, but it is starting to get sorted out. It's starting to be exposed. People will be, basically, justice will be served in the way that it's supposed to be. And I would even go as far as saying I think this is all very divine in its in how it's playing out. This is a divine plan. This is part of the big divine plan. Is we're not going to be asleep and ignorant for all eternity, guys. Come on, that would suck. There's no reason to do that. We wouldn't
I just
want
think
that.
it's quite incredible that they've managed to do what they did, because now you see it this way. You think, how the hell did they make me believe that the sun was 96 million miles away when you know it's
Right.
there?
Right. And I could say, well, maybe we needed that deception in order to wake up to the deception.
You know, what about all those people in those great big observatories with those great big telescopes? What are they looking at then? Imagine all the information they must have. They need to
The
go to
same
prison.
the
Light
same thing
years,
that someone with a
light
P900
years
is looking
away.
at.
Telling us it's light years away. You need to go to prison.
Yeah, no, and I went through all this. Honestly, I went through this before even flight. I studied physics in college for like 3 years, and I dropped out because of realizations of this sort. I realized that redshift was horseshit. It was so ridiculous. The idea that because of the hue of the spectrum that we're seeing from the light from the stars, that we can determine how far away it is. That is ridiculous. It's not based on any empirical science whatsoever. It's just this notion that all astronomy has completely blindly accepted. And I realized this. I realized that about. I realized atoms. We don't have any proof that atoms really exist. That there's such thing as like this particle that's like a material, like a Lego. That like there's just not the proof. But they teach it like there is the proof. Like
Yeah, and do you know what as
that's just
well? Like, you know, when we
hardcore
say
fact.
Noah's, if you put a K on it, it's the Noahs. We're the Noahs. They were the Noahs. It means something completely different. They've just
Right.
altered things to make things look totally different.
Oh yeah, they mess with our language. You could say that the entire English language is actually contrived based on these deceptions.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Cast,
really could.
cast Lucy, do you find that you can talk about it freely in your household, or do you feel that you're a silent one?
I don't talk about this with my family, and sometimes I regret talking about it and or ever mentioning it. Only because I think that maybe they might be worried about me, like there's something wrong with me mentally or something, you know what I mean? Um, and I don't like to worry them. But I do talk to my boyfriend about it, and it's basically, or my friends. It's the only people that are close to me that I can share this with. But I don't really speak much about it. It would be wonderful though, but I just leave people alone, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah, because you can't actually change anybody's mind. They have to do it themselves.
Yeah, and
Right.
everyone has their own things going on.
It's a
So
bit weird, isn't it, that we're on a different frequency somehow. I don't mean that horribly, but we just are.
True. True. It's literally true. I believe we're on a different frequency, and that's why we're in a higher state of consciousness, a higher
mhm.
frequency of consciousness, basically. Now everyone has access to that, but most people choose not to access it. Whereas we chose, or sometimes we just fall into it. I mean, I fell into the JFK assassination when I was like 13. Just researching that, and and then I got into meditation, and probably when I was 14 or so, and that was kind of both those things sort of like took me for a ride that I wasn't necessarily ready for. And had I been asked, are you willing to go on this journey? I don't know that I would have said yes. So I kind of had to just fall into it, and I think part of it is our lives, and what is our background, what is our skill set, and then part of it is our soul's purpose here right now. We each have a different, unique soul purpose, and our soul's purpose was to wake up, was to help others wake up. That's not the purpose of a lot of others. A lot of others, it might just be to like um, heal some trauma, some karma. It might be to learn to help people more. You know, People have different levels of purpose, of consciousness, and the idea is that over many lifetimes, everyone gradually wakes up more and more. They learn through their karma until everyone becomes fully enlightened eventually. But everyone's at a different stage in that process. And right now, in history, the history of humanity, we're in a very unique time where I think most of the people that are here now, especially the ones like us talking about these things, awake to these things, this is our purpose. We're here, we came here during these times to help facilitate this awakening that's going on right now. That's what I believe wholeheartedly.
Yes, they're like warriors then.
Exactly.
Peaceful warriors. Can I just say that we've been going for an hour now? Me and
Yeah.
Patricia do have to be somewhere in half an hour. But in the next 5-10 minutes, because obviously it feels like we've just got going, but we don't go so long anymore. We try not to because
Yeah.
people's attention span as well. But do you want to talk like, well, Lucy, and for a few minutes about your hopes and whatever you want to say, and then Aaron as well, and then we wrap up.
I would like for people to give it a chance. By it, I mean the truth. And because knowing the truth gives you, not that people don't have value already, but when you really find out the truth, you realize it helps you realize your purpose, like why you're here, where you're going. You are special. You're not an accident. You don't come from stardust.
And we're big kids,
You
aren't
have
we?
meaning.
We're the big children. That's all. We're just big children, older children.
Yeah, a lot of people are still children inside, even though we're grown up and we have big bodies and whatever. But tap into that child, try to tap into that child that is not, that doesn't have all this trash on it, all this mumble jumble. Try to think about how it was when you were a child, try to see things like that. And you'll see that you're very special. And I'm sure a lot of people feel like they are special already, but it really does change your life, because I always say once you go flat, you never glow back. And it's not funny, it's the truth. Um, it's life changing. You're going to go through a lot of emotions, you're going to go through a lot of changes, but in the end, it's something that's worth it, because it shows you the way out. And when you find the way out, you have more, it gives you peace. You find peace to know that, okay, I was a zombie at first and I was lost, just getting up every day, going to work, doing the same thing, and then coming back and being out. It's like being under hypnosis, and it's like you just walk on the road and there's nowhere to go. Like you're lost. So when you find the truth, you find the way out, and to find the way out is a treasure. Like, to me, that's priceless. It's eternal life. And if other people don't want eternal life, that's cool. That's okay. Some people are dead already anyway, and they don't even know it. But give it a chance, because you won't regret it. Now, this isn't for everyone, though. If it's not for you, just leave it alone. Continue to do what you do, and let it be. But if there's you don't lose anything. There's nothing to lose. There's nothing to lose.
Very nicely put there, Lucy. Thank you so much. And a young person telling us that. So there's all hope, hope, hope.
Mm-hmm.
You have hope. Definitely, you have hope for you and for your family and for everyone that you consider that you care about. If you really, if you think you have a leg to stand on, if you have blood to spill, if you have a soul, if you are alive, if you want to live.
Oh, Lucy, I love you.
Thank you. I love you too.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Lovely, Lucy.
Lovely,
Aaron?
Lucy.
Yeah, she is lovely. She's a lovely lady. And gentleman Aaron. Come on, gentleman Aaron.
Yes, hope. I think hope is instrumental right now. to us getting through these changes. I think it's important that people don't underestimate the power of their own mind, their own heart in all of this, even if they're not speaking publicly or even just talking to anyone about these ideas or just having these thoughts or questions. I think it's important for people to realize that what goes on with their heart and mind affects the entire world. And so what's important is that we do have hope in our hearts, that we have optimism and see things working out for the best of all concerned. You know, the more we can visualize that outcome, the more likely we are to manifest it. And I would say it's already pretty much there. We've already pretty much done that as far as what we have coming in store for us in the future. But we just have to go through the motions. We have to carry it out. And the best way to do that is with our hearts and minds being aligned with that positive future. And to wrap it up, some hope from the Hopi. The Hopi Indians had a prophecy many years ago, and I have it right here. I'll read it for everyone. When the earth is ravaged and the animals are dying, a new tribe of people shall come onto the earth of many colors, creeds, and classes, and by their actions and deeds shall make the earth green again. They shall be known as the warriors of the rainbow. That was a Hopi prophecy.
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
That is true.
Very nice, Aaron. Oh, well, I haven't spoken to you in ages properly, Aaron, have I?
No, it's been too long.
Yeah, I think we did when we came back on, or even Lucy. I haven't spoken to Lucy for a while either.
It's been a minute, yeah.
Yeah, only a minute. Well, what we'll do is Patricia, do you want to say anything? Patricia?
Only just to say I love you all and thank you for coming on, and I hope you have a good rest of the day or afternoon or whatever. And
with that festive thing happening.
Yeah. Well, it's a time to love, to show love, and that's how I see it. You know, we have to do what we need to do, and if that time of year is important in everybody else's eyes, why not go along with it? Doesn't mean I haven't got a Christmas tree up, I haven't got any decorations, I've just got some lights. Because I more celebrate winter, to make it warm inside, so that I don't have to think about it being cold outside. But the warmth is in my heart as well, to show love.
Oh, Patricia.
Lovely.
I love Patricia too. Thank you, Patricia. Oh, thank you, Aaron, and thank you, Lucy. And
thank you, Karen.
Thank you, chat room. We'll say goodbye when we press the button off, but to everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Go to my channel for truth immediately if you want to live.
Thank you, Lucy. Yes, do as you're told. Hey, bye, everybody.
Okay, I didn't warn you.
Sorry, I had a loo flushing there. It's my daughter's just come back from work. Anyway, bye, everybody.
Bye. Love you all.
Bye-bye.